What is up, everybody? This is your guy Cly, and welcome back to Budget Buys. And at this point, you've probably got to be tired of hearing that. But it is time for part 3 of 3 with this Bugha Golden Gaming Gear trilogy, and that is the limited edition Bugha Gold LED gaming headset. And out of all 3 of these, this is definitely the one that makes me put the hardest air quotes on the whole limited edition aspect of this line, because this thing dropped on the Five Below website, I want to say either the end of 2021 or very early 2022. And as you can probably guess, it is meant to be a replacement for the original Bugha LED gaming headset. As far as I can remember, it started out as an online exclusive, but it trickled its way into their physical stores, and it's been there ever since. In fact, it's kind of replaced the red and blue versions of the headset that launched shortly before it. Because, as far as I can tell, these have pretty much disappeared from physical stores, at least in my area. And they only seem to pop up on the Five Below website every now and then. Also, there was a white edition released as an online exclusive that sadly sold out before I can get my hands on it, but as far as I can tell, has the same make and manufacture as these and the gold headset. More on that later. Inside the box, you receive the headset itself, the manual, as well as a combo audio adapter. Now, on the topic of those combo audio adapters, I want to take a moment to appreciate the fact that the manufacturers saw fit to include color-matched combo audio adapters. They easily could have just included black in each and every one of these kits and nobody would have cared, because all of them have black cables, so it makes sense. But no, we have a red one, we have a blue one, we have a gold one, and in the case of the white headset, not seen here, you have a white one. I just thought that was kind of cool. Also, on a more technical note, it does seem like the later edition combo audio adapters use a much longer cable. And as for why these were actually included in the first place, it comes down to the cable on the headset. Because as you can see, there are 2 different 3.5mm audio plugs on these. And that's because these headsets are meant for devices that have a dedicated headphone jack and microphone input jack. Not every device does that. In fact, most cell phones, tablets, game consoles, and even laptops have been moving to a one jack for all solution, also known as combo audio. You have the stereo audio connectors and microphone connector all in one plug. By using the adapter, you can just plug both of these cables into the appropriate port, one for microphone, one for headphones, and you're good to go. And for those of you wondering about the USB portion, this is not for using your headset as a USB audio device. This is purely for powering the LEDs. So everybody who's been asking in my previous review how to turn the LEDs on your headset, plug this in. Doesn't even have to be to the same device. You can use a USB power bank, but you gotta plug this in. As a side note, if you don't want the LEDs on, don't plug this in. It's a brute force solution for one of my favorite features on the LED Gaming Mouse 2, and that's the ability to turn off your friggin' LEDs. More, please. Now, one thing you didn't hear me mention included in this package is the Bugha collector's card for the headset. And yeah, I know it's kind of an old joke at this point because I was talking about that with the previous line of Bugha gear and how even though they were meant to replace the product, they never actually came with the card. I kind of have a reason for harping on it this time around. Because in the blue gaming headset box, I got a collector's card. So that does mean that they were kind of thinking about including them for a little while. And I say for a little while because not only does the gold edition not come with the collector's card, but surprisingly, my red edition, which I bought a couple months after my blue edition, yes, I've been sitting on these headsets for a while, did not come with a collector's card. Go figure. Of course, as seen in my previous 2 videos in this series, it does seem like Bugha has significantly changed his branding, so the previous run of collector's cards are kind of obsolete at this point. Side note, does that mean that there will be more if more Bugha products drop? Because you have the opportunity to completely redo this thing. And here we have both headsets. And before I go any further, I do want to lay out one massive caveat. This is a first generation of the headsets, and there might have been some changes in manufacture between the generations without changes being made to what's written on the box. Kind of like how the full-sized version of the Bugha LED gaming keyboard originally came with laser engraved keys, and then they moved to printed keys while still saying the keys were laser engraved on the box. So I just wanted to put that out there. With that out of the way, let's go into some of the differences on offer between not only these two headsets, but also, by extension, the red, blue, and white headsets, also known as the headset not appearing in this film. And the biggest change really has to do with where the controls are placed on these two versions, which I kind of find interesting due to the fact that both of these use effectively the same shell design, which, as someone mentioned in the comment section of my original review, is based on the Onikuma K1B. Though, of course, I do suspect that that is actually a generic shell style that Onikuma made use of, but that's a topic for a different video that will probably never get made. In the case of the original headset and the Onikuma, you have the controls on the cable, with the volume wheel here and the microphone power switch here. In the case of the gold, red, blue, and not appearing in this film headsets, you have the controls right here on the left cup. Once again, you have your volume wheel and your microphone power switch. And to prove I'm not making things up, here we have the blue edition with the controls on the left-hand cup, the red edition with the controls on the left-hand cup, and the, actually, let's go ahead and just show you a picture from the Five Below website of the white edition with the controls on the left-hand cup. The next difference is definitely just down to the color. And this is a difference shared between pretty much every single headset that I've been featuring in this video. But one difference between this particular gold edition and the other two gold editions is the fact that this is not painted. This is actually gold colored plastic, at least in a lot of different sections, like the microphone, the top band here. The main cup might be painted. I do see some evidence of that, but at least a good chunk of the parts look to be molded in gold plastic, or at the very least, they are molded in kind of a beige plastic and then hit with a metallic top coat, which would explain some of the texturing I see on this. Once again, I am so glad they did not go for this style. And one more difference between this headset and all of the others I've shown in this video and didn't show in this video is the fact that it actually sports Bugha branding. In this case, it is in the form of a reproduction of Bugha's autograph that you can also see on all of the collector's cards. And yes, that is a reproduction. They didn't pay Bugha enough to sit down and sign each and every one of these headsets in the exact same spot, in the exact same way. That's just how mass-marketed autographed merch is done. Next up in the differences is one that I'm actually extremely excited about when it comes to how they did this particular headset. In my original review, I did talk about how when you pull this apart, you have what looks to be a band of metal. But this is a sticker. And in my personal opinion, I feel like putting a fake metal sticker on something that would look just fine in black plastic kind of cheapens the feel of the whole thing. I think that's definitely a bad call on the manufacturer. And yes, the same thing is visible on both the red and blue headsets. However, in the case of the gold headset, you sort of don't have that. Now this looks to be black, but they actually still included the fake metal sticker. However, in this case, it's more of a metallic slash sequin black. And I do kind of feel that classes it up a little bit. it definitely would look just fine as plain black, like I said previously. By leaning into it and adding the metallic color to black versus trying to just make it look like a silver piece of metal, I dig it. And the funny part is, I don't think that was intentional on the manufacturer's part, but I'm going to give them the point anyway. However, I'm immediately going to have to take that point away when it comes to the LEDs. And this is actually the main reason I gave that big disclaimer at the start, because these two models do things very differently. Let me just turn those on. As you can see, on the original black, it has a nice transition that just keeps going. And it's really well diffused. On the gold, not as well diffused. The transition kind of goes and then it strobes. The kind of strobe that you see in the gold LED gaming mouse. I'm not exactly a fan of this look, and it looks even worse in the dark. Let's just go ahead and bring that out. This is why I'm excited by the fact that you can actually just use this without the LEDs being on. Strobes, not my friend. And in case you were wondering, yes, the red and blue also do the strobe, and you can really see where the LEDs are located. And if you're really unlucky, you can see the shadows of the wires. Yay. And I would assume the white version also does the same thing because it is apparently from the same manufacturer. Now I think it's about time for a sound test, though I'm only going to be using these two headsets. I'm not going to make you sit through 4 different sound tests in this video. And before anyone says it's not worth it to do a sound test, due to the fact that YouTube is going to bit crunch the heck out of this video and the overall sound quality you're going to experience is based on what you're listening through, I'm going to counter that by saying, have you seen my review of one of the Bluetooth gaming earbud sets Five Below used to carry? That thing was absolutely atrocious and the sound test proved it. So at the very least, I'll let you know if these are going to be super muddy, super tinny, or just blown out. Now let's get to that. Also, one thing I can't quite remember doing for the original Bugha headset review was including a sample from the microphone. So let's go ahead and do that. What you're listening to right now is what I sound like on the microphone attached to the original black version of the headset. Now let's jump over to the gold. And here's what I sound like on the gold edition. And it does sound a little bit different. I kind of feel like I have a bit more bass in my voice. I don't know if this is caused by a different microphone capsule being used in manufacture, different positioning, or if I'm just hearing things. Those of you at home listening to this right now, let me know down in the comments what you think. And there you have the limited edition Bugha Gold LED gaming headset, which is ironically not really seeming to be much of a limited edition, especially due to the fact that it's one branding version behind with this logo. Personally, I would have called these special editions instead of limited editions, cut the fake FOMO, and just go with the fact that it's a bit different and you're paying the premium for it. And speaking of the premium, when it comes to the fact that this is $2 more expensive than the original, I'm kind of on the fence as to whether or not that's worth it. Overall, I do think it looks perfectly fine and serviceable, but like I've been saying this whole time, I'm not the biggest fan of gold. I do much prefer black, and this is the one that I would choose out of all 5 different headsets I've mentioned here. I might be able to change my opinion if they release a green edition though. At the same time, maybe that should just end up being a Clive Faker product. No, I don't currently have any discussions going on between me and Five Below for something like that, but I would definitely be interested. And because of that, I think I'm gonna go ahead and break tradition and say, please like, comment, subscribe, and share this video so it can get as big as possible and Five Below reaches out to me. I would love to talk to them about mechanical keyboard accessories that they can get in their store for a reasonable price. And I think some of you can tell by that previous half joke that I'm kind of burned out now because I've recorded all 3 of these videos back to back to back. And I've got to get to editing them so they'll be up at a reasonable time. So I think I should go ahead and say, until next time, this is your guy, Cly, signing off for the 3rd consecutive time.